WebXR inspiration.
We're all looking forward to hearing you. Thank you very much for being here today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, Kent and Julie. I'm going to do the share screen. So hopefully this, let's do, I'm not sure if this is going to work, but let's see. What can we see from my screen? I need to get rid of this. Yeah. I think that's not the right one to share. Let's try this again. Stop screen sharing. We'll try this again and we'll do this one. Okay. Right, so everybody see the slide? You know, I can't hear anything. Okay, thanks, Kent. I see it's in the chat. Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for waiting while we got the slides figured out. The title of this talk is Passion and Purpose, and I want to look at the kind of wellsprings of XR inspiration that people have had, especially in recent years. And as many of you know, I've been in VR for quite a long time, so far back, in fact, to when the reason for developing VR was actually to find a purpose for VR. What was it good for? And how could we use it? And why should we use it? Since those early days, and especially in the last several years, I've seen an explosive growth of creativity in the medium. People with dreams, ideas, and passions have taken to XR technologies, bringing with them incredible energies. And I've watched and followed these efforts and have been super impressed, blown away, in fact, by what many of these creators have accomplished. Today, I want to share what I see as commonalities that inspire some of these creators, past and present, and look a bit at the passions and purposes that support their works. All right, so I'm not sure why my slides are not advancing. Let's see. Sorry. There. Okay. I want to start with this quote from Willy Wonka. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation, and what we'll see will defy explanation. What motivates XR creators? Was it something far back in their past, a desire to make a difference, or a need that they see a way to fill, or just the pure joy of the creative act? Whatever it is, these creators want you to experience what they have conjured in their dreams. They want you to be there, to experience what they have felt compelled to make. But where do they get those sparks that ignite their creativity? The spark of inspirations can be as small as a firefly or as vast as our inner minds during meditation. The underlying passions can be fueled by many desires. Passions, purpose, and inspiration are not isolated. They go hand in hand. The purposes are as myriad as the minds and spirits that create them. They can include a deep-seated wanting to introduce incredibly new, believable worlds, to experience truth and justice, to surround you in magic, to expand the capabilities of your mind, to experience and live a story, to learn more effectively in a fully embodied way, and to emplace people in a space that they can make into a place. And these are just some of the motivations. To explore where some of these ideas come from, I'm going to briefly share the work of 8 XR artists from the past until now, and see what they have to say about their creative motivations. Now, of course, this isn't inclusive in 15 minutes, and I won't have time to go into any depth about these amazing creators and their works, so I'll save that for a longer talk. So you can consider this the teaser for that talk. I'm going to start with myself. Now, I have always wanted to explore emotions and feelings in VR. And this was back when VR was had beautiful environments, but they were pretty sterile. They didn't have a lot of meaning, and I wanted to add meaning to them. Many of my later works explore how truly evanescent time makes everything in our lives. My inspirations including climbing trees, not tresses, but climbing trees where I was surrounded by a whole world within a world. And also Winky Dink, which was an early TV show that taught me things don't have to be passive, that agency can make the world so much more exciting. My purpose is to have you feel something of what I was feeling that inspired that work. And why XR? XR is the closest to our known way of experiencing the world, and a lot cheaper than building such a world physically. These are two images from my VR works. One on the right is from 1992, part of the work called Vertopia, and the one on the left from my 2007 XR piece called The Memory Stairs. Next, we have Margaret Dulinsky. And Margaret's passions are drawing and painting. Her drawings are everything to her. They are windows into other realities. Her inspirations include feeling as a kid, being a feeling kid that was aware of how people and places impact who we are in that moment. Her purpose in doing her works is to provide a means for empathy or to give you a way to radically shift your perceptions. And why XR? Margaret says, as a young medium, there's still time to bring a diversity of voices and interests to it. Margaret has created dozens of immersive XR works starting in the 1990s, and they almost all incorporate her drawings or paintings into fanciful and often surreal worlds, with titles such as Hardwired, Emotable Portraits, and Blue Window Pane. She says, actually, her most important work is going to be the one she does next. Maurice Benion, a European artist, has always wanted to change the world since he was a kid and to find new ways and new forms of expression. His inspiration is this vanishing boundaries that we're in today. The frames and museums are going away, and artists have a brand new playground. His purpose in creating his works is to surprise himself and others with meaningful artistic solutions. Why XR? Because it's unframed and it can erase the boundaries between art and life and put someone in the center of an expanding world. This image is from his 1997 award-winning immersive work called World Skin, a photographic safari into the land of war, in which the participant uses a camera as an interface into an immersive war-torn world. The act of taking photos with that interface strips the objects of their textures with every shot, and maybe even their souls. Now, Nani de la Peña has a passion for reporting events truthfully with very high journalistic principles. She has said, why would anyone just sit in the audience when they can be in the middle of the story? The purpose behind her work is to deepen our understanding of very complex stories. And why XR? Because it's the closest mechanism to actually being there when and where something is happening. De la Peña's experience runs the gamut, including works on documentary film and a stint as a former correspondent for Newsweek. A scene from her groundbreaking work, Hunger, is on the left. Hunger was made with $700 of her own money and a prototype headset made by her then intern, Palmer Luckey. A frame from Syria on the right is another fully immersive socio-political work about the effects of the war in Syria on its people. And Nani, of course, is known for inventing the field of immersive journalism. Next, we have Jackie Lee. Jackie is a builder of ideas. He loves to visualize ideas, emotions, and knowledge. The inspiration for his work was when his son said, learning while having fun makes learning easier. So that gave him the idea to start his company, Science VR, which has a lot of ways to engage with different scientists and their discoveries over the years. So his purpose is to do what his son said, make learning more engaging and even fun. Why XR? Because it allows him to give ideas form and function and share them with others. And in this picture above, we see a lot of his scientists all together. And these are people that you can actually, virtual people that you can go and interact with in these little lessons about different parts of scientific discovery. Next, we have Kevin Mack, an Oscar-winning effects artist now focused on creating XR works. His inspiration includes his vivid, immersive imagination, this hyperphantasia that he's had since childhood. His passion is exploring ever-advancing capabilities of computers in visuals and immersion, and he's always been at the forefront of this technology. His purpose is to share what's in his head, his visions and his imagination as immersively as possible. Why XR? Well, reality and imagination are immersive, so XR is therefore the perfect medium. We see here two frames from his amazing and ever-shifting creation called Anadala, his virtual world of artificial life, and his most ambitious and intriguing immersive work to date. And it is truly an experience to be in the midst of these shifting, changing forms. Next, we have Juliana Lowe, who'll be presenting later in today's sessions. And her inspirations as a kid, poetry was one of them. Poetry was a way out of ordinary life. And some of her passions as a child included catching bugs and placing them in jars that she would make into their own worlds. Her purpose includes creating deep and rich worlds of XR with affordances that actually invite the audience to be a participant. Why XR? Each brushwork is like a word of poetry, intentional and precise. It's so much more than just digital bricks and mortar. Here we see two frames from her recent work, Jingleville, a fun winter world that was inspired, as she says, in part by an image of fireflies I posted on Facebook. But she has made it into so much more. A whole world with lots of fun things to do, a magic world. And last but not least, we have Nenea Reeves, CEO and co-founder of a company called Trip. Her inspirations include using video games as a child to escape negative situations, and then learning meditation as a teenager to help with a mental health crisis. Her passion includes using XR technology for good. And her purpose is to open up significant new opportunities using XR, especially in wellness. Why XR? Because full immersion allows us to connect more deeply to self and to our expanded states of consciousness. We see here two frames from the mind-enhancing application Trip, a unique, ever-changing set of exercises for your inner self, including areas for focus, mindfulness, and relaxation. There have been almost 3 million Trip sessions to date. It's unbelievable. Those have to be doing some good. And seriously, if you've never tried Trip, do yourself a favor and check it out. So I hope you've enjoyed and maybe even were inspired by these quick glimpses into the minds of some talented XR creators. I'd like to leave you with one more thought by Pierre de Cherdon, a French Jesuit priest, scientist, paleontologist, theologian, philosopher, and teacher in the first half of the 20th century. One of his most famous quotes is this: "Someday, after mastering the winds, the waves, the tides, and gravity, we shall harness for God the energies of love, and then, for a second time in the history of the world, man will have discovered fire." Today, we are mastering the waves, the winds, the tides, and gravity with XR, and its creators are discovering a new form of fire with their passions, inspirations, and their purposes. And we all benefit from their energies of love.